Daniel Carter was driving home from his shift at the auto shop when he got the call that changed his life forever. His wife, Rachel, had been hit by a car while crossing the street. She was in critical condition at St. Mary's Hospital in Denver. Daniel's hands shook as he gripped his motorcycle handlebars. He rode to the hospital, doing 90 miles an hour through traffic. When he arrived, doctors told him Rachel had multiple broken bones, internal bleeding, and a severe head injury. She was in surgery. They didn't know if she'd make it through the night. Daniel collapsed in the waiting room. His brothers from the Iron Wolves MC arrived within the hour. They sat with him through the night, while Rachel fought for her life. Before we continue, drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from. At 3 a.m., police officers came to give Daniel an update on the driver who hit his wife. His name was Brandon Westbrook, 26 years old, son of District Attorney Philip Westbrook. Brandon had a blood alcohol level of 0.19, more than twice the legal limit. He'd been driving his father's BMW at 60 miles per hour through a residential area. He hit Rachel in a crosswalk and kept driving for 2 blocks before witnesses forced him to stop. When police arrested him, Brandon was laughing. He told officers his dad would make it all go away like he always did. This wasn't Brandon's first DUI. It was his 4th. His father had gotten the previous 3 charges dismissed or reduced to reckless driving. Brandon never spent a single day in jail, never lost his license, never faced real consequences. Daniel's jaw clenched as the officers explained that Brandon had already been released on bail. 2 hours after nearly killing Rachel, he was home sleeping in his bed. The officers left, and Daniel sat in silence with his brothers surrounding him. Nobody spoke. They all knew what he was thinking. Rachel made it through surgery, but remained in a coma for 3 days. Daniel never left her side. His brothers brought him food and clean clothes. They took shifts sitting with him, so he wouldn't be alone. On the 4th day, Rachel opened her eyes. She couldn't speak because of the breathing tube, but she squeezed Daniel's hand. He cried for the first time since the accident. Rachel's recovery would take months. Multiple surgeries. Physical therapy. She'd never walk the same again. The medical bills were already over $400,000 and climbing. Daniel's insurance covered some, but not nearly enough. Meanwhile, Brandon posted photos on social media from a party at his father's mansion. Drinking, laughing, living his life like nothing happened. One photo showed him holding a beer with the caption, "Haters gonna hate." Daniel's brothers saw the posts. They showed them to Daniel. Something broke inside him when he saw Brandon's smiling face. The man who nearly killed his wife was partying while Rachel learned to walk again. Club President Victor Reaper Stone called a meeting at their clubhouse. 50 members of the Iron Wolves showed up. Reaper explained the situation to everyone. He told them about Brandon's 4 DUIs, about his father making charges disappear, about Rachel fighting for her life while Brandon partied. The room fell silent. Then one by one, every member stood up. They'd all lost someone to drunk drivers, brothers, sisters, parents, friends. They understood Daniel's pain because they'd lived it. Reaper made it clear they wouldn't do anything illegal. No violence, no threats, but they would make sure Brandon understood what he'd done. If you believe drunk drivers deserve consequences, hit that subscribe button and show your support. Saturday night at 8 p.m., Brandon threw another party at his father's estate. Music blasting, people drinking by the pool. Brandon in the center of it all, acting like he owned the world. That's when they heard the engines. 50 motorcycles rode up to the Westbrook estate and parked along the street, every single one. The Iron Wolves sat on their bikes with engines idling, not moving, not saying anything, just watching. The party music stopped. Guests looked out the windows and saw 50 bikers staring at the house. Some people left immediately. Others pulled out their phones and started recording. Brandon came outside trying to act tough. He yelled at the bikers to leave, or he'd call the cops. Reaper shut off his engine and stood up. He didn't approach Brandon, just stood by his motorcycle holding a sign. The sign had Rachel's photo on it. Below the photo it read, "This is who you almost killed." Brandon's face went pale. The other bikers pulled out similar signs. Photos of Rachel in the hospital. Photos of her learning to walk again. Photos of Daniel sitting by her bedside. Every sign had a message. For DUIs and still driving. Daddy's money can't buy back her health. You laughed while she bled. Brandon tried to go back inside, but his father came out. District Attorney Westbrook demanded the bikers leave his property. Reaper calmly explained they were on public property. They had every right to peacefully assemble. They weren't threatening anyone, just showing the truth. Westbrook pulled out his phone and called the police. 3 patrol cars arrived within 10 minutes. The officers assessed the situation and told Westbrook the bikers weren't breaking any laws. They were on the public street, holding signs, not blocking traffic, not threatening anyone. Completely legal. The officers left. The bikers stayed. All night long. 50 motorcycles lined up outside the Westbrook estate. Engines off. Bikers sitting in silence. The party ended within an hour. Every guest left. Brandon went inside and didn't come back out. By midnight, news crews had arrived. They interviewed Reaper, who explained why they were there. He showed them Rachel's medical records. Explained Brandon's history of DUIs. Showed how his father had made previous charges disappear. The story went viral by morning. National news picked it up. Bikers hold vigil for hit-and-run victim outside DA's home. People across the country were outraged. Comments poured in supporting the bikers, demanding Brandon face real consequences. The pressure became too much. District Attorney Westbrook recused himself from the case. A special prosecutor was appointed. Brandon was rearrested and charged with vehicular assault, DUI, and leaving the scene of an accident. His bail was revoked. He sat in jail waiting for trial. The bikers stayed outside the Westbrook estate every night for 2 weeks. Different shifts, always 50 bikes, always silent, always holding Rachel's photo. Brandon's trial happened 3 months later. The courtroom was packed with Iron Wolves members. Rachel testified from a wheelchair. She described the impact, the pain, waking up in the hospital, not knowing if she'd ever walk again. Brandon's lawyers tried to paint him as a victim of circumstance, a young man who made a mistake. The jury wasn't buying it. They saw the social media posts, the party photos, the complete lack of remorse. Brandon was convicted on all charges, sentenced to 8 years in prison. No early release, no special treatment, just consequences, real consequences. Rachel cried when the verdict was read. Daniel held her hand while 50 bikers stood and applauded. The Westbrook family left the courthouse in silence. Philip Westbrook resigned as district attorney 2 weeks later. His career was over, his reputation destroyed, all because he protected his son instead of serving justice. Rachel's recovery took 18 months. She walks with a cane now and always will. Some days the pain is unbearable, but she's alive. The Iron Wolves raised $600,000 through fundraisers to cover her medical bills. They organized charity rides across Colorado. Local businesses donated. Complete strangers sent money. The biker community came together for one of their own. Daniel and Rachel renewed their wedding vows last month. 50 Iron Wolves attended. Rachel wore a dress that hid her scars. She walked down the aisle with her cane. Every biker stood when she passed. In her vows, she thanked them for giving her justice when the system failed. Brandon serves a sentence in a Colorado state prison. He's eligible for parole in 6 years. The Iron Wolves have already promised to be at every parole hearing. They won't let him forget what he did. They won't let the system forget either. Today, the Iron Wolves run a program called Rachel's Ride. They attend DUI trials across Colorado. Peaceful, silent, present, reminding judges and juries that victims deserve justice. Since they started, conviction rates for repeat DUI offenders increased by 40%. Sentences got longer. Bail got revoked more often. All because 50 bikers decided to show up and hold signs. Subscribe to this channel if you believe drunk drivers should face real consequences, no matter who their parents are.